Sizzle Rants. Hi again, everyone. Just me practicing how to be on video by myself. Just doing a bit of a. Today's rant is about a few things, but I'll bring up the first one. I just found out about this today. Sam Keith. Thank God it's not a series because I'd want it. But it's just a one shot coming out. I think it said next month. Sam Keith, can I avoid it? I don't think so. Sam Keith, for those who don't know, I was a massive fan in the 90s of this fella. The Max. Absolutely love the Max. I had the entire series. As people know, I've sold my entire collection. But I had the entire series, and I think I had the entire series. Maybe I was missing one or two. I can't remember. But I also had these guys, the friends of Max, that have absolutely nothing to do with Max. But they were a lot of fun as well. These were really cool comics. So huge fan. Love the Max, the whole Dreamtime thing, and him being some sort of spirit animal of the main chick whose name I've forgotten. It was the 90s, man. It's a long time ago. I can't be expected to remember everything. Someone has probably commented on who it was. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Kerry. So I can't remember her name. But, her animal wasn't, even though he was sort of like a superhero, it wasn't a superhero comic. And that's probably why I loved it. It was Sam's art was amazing. It was just so different than anything else I'd seen in comics at the time, because I was used to, your clean art, very stylized, and like your Jim Lees and so forth. So it was just so different. And he drew women real, he drew men real, and just the topics some of them were quite deep. And very psychological as well. So the Max, very cool. And that's issue 1's cover. I also had the splintered image or shattered image, or it was like the precursor to this one. I think it was called the Max Half. It came out after Max, or am I thinking of the Marvel stuff? Don't know. So I had the half as well, and I don't think there was a 0, but I'm pretty sure there was an issue half. So I had that as well. Julie Winters, thank you. You think? Oh, okay, cool. Yes, agreed. A lot of allusions to trauma and PTSD. It was a full-on little comic series, and even though they called the dreaming area the Outback, it had nothing to do with Australia. So that was the Max. Big fan, huge fan. And when I saw that Sam was doing something again, and there's his actual, that's his style. I haven't seen him draw a superhero before, so that's interesting. If that is a superhero, I can't quite make out what it's meant to be. But yeah, the little weird creature. Although I didn't look into it, so I don't know if, I'll take it off the screen. I don't know if he's just the artist, if he's the writer or the artist or both. So I've got to find that out. If he's not both, I may have lost some interest in getting it. So thanks, Bo. Howdy, Zach. So yes, I forgot to bring up the other messages. Sorry, I just read them and hello. I forgot to bring them up. I have a tendency, I've been told by a friend of mine, that I have a tendency to read the messages over here and not actually put them up on the screen so you guys can see what the hell I'm reading. So yes, I'll try not to do that. So when I started thinking about the Max and that particular comic from the 90s, and I started thinking about other stuff that I liked in the 90s, and it got me thinking about these guys. Hang on, I've got to find cover 1. There we go. Gen 13. Totally different comic. Totally different comic. I'm talking way different than the Max. It was just silly fun. Group of teenagers developed powers which came from a military experiment of some sort on their parents. They're whisked away before they're taken, captured, and turned into superpowered slaves. And they become Gen 13. Their parents being the 12th, I believe, generation of being tested on and given powers. So this has been happening for a while. But I mean, that all sounds very serious. The comic itself was not serious. The comic itself was quite silly. Beautiful art by J. Scott Campbell. Hang on, let's see if I can show you some. I mean, that's his on the cover there, and it's actually funny watching his style change, because this is the first series that he did, a regular series, was Gen 13. That's my understanding anyway. And you watch his art improve exponentially from issue 1 to 3 even, just through the roof. And I guess that's what happens when you're forced to do an issue a month. Fun fact, it is impossible to do an omnibus reprint because files and original art was lost, according to Campbell himself. Oh, well, there you go. Well, I won't be getting an omnibus of that one, will I? Lost. Well, they sound very organized. But yeah, so it shows Jeff's, I think it's Jeff, yeah, art. Like, this is a cover that got a lot of attention at the time. This just shows you how silly it is. She loses her pants in this particular issue. She had a tendency to lose clothes in most issues, actually, old Caitlin, which is just one of the silly things that they did in the comic until it got serious. When did it get serious? I don't know, about a year or two into it, it started to get a little bit more serious and less fun. That's also, I think, when he stopped being the artist as well. And there's another cover that he did with the whole gang. So yeah, now they did a little special when they did issue 13. They actually split it into 3 comics, issue 13A, issue 13B, issue 13C. And I don't remember the details. Like I said, 90s, long time ago. But they pretty much, it's something similar to becoming aware that they're a comic, if that makes sense. They kind of cross over with a whole bunch of other comics that are in totally different styles than theirs. It's I remember it being just as the normal silly that is Gen 13. At least the first part of the series is quite silly. And speaking of silly, there was one particular thing about this that cracked me up at the time, and I still remember, even though I don't remember the story, I still remember this particular thing. Yes, character. That's what we'll call it. Character. Yes. But there was this really funny ad. I could never decide if it was fake or real at the time. It seemed real because it had his actual website. So I'll show it to you. Anthony Robbins seminars. It gives the list of people that he'd helped. It gives his little spiel. He had his little spiel down the side as well. And all the information underneath. I didn't get to check it all today, but the site's real. Some of that information is real that I could find. So I think it might have been a real ad. And that absolutely cracks me up and blows my mind at the same time. So yeah, that was Gen 13, 13C that was in. I can't zoom in, unfortunately. So yeah, what was that all about? So go crazy 90s. But yeah, and also, yeah, they did lots of crossovers, Gen 13. But I mean, so did a lot of the Image comics at the time. Like Youngblood. Youngblood was shocking for having crossovers with the entire Extreme universe, I guess you'd call it. And Gen 13 was part of Wildstorm. So lots of Wildstorm crossovers. So they kept it in their own little universes, each part of Image. But they did like Sword of Damocles and Fire from Heaven. They even crossed over with Jim Lee's book. What was it called again? Divine Right. And yeah, lots of crossovers back then. But I think that was the thing. They found out crossovers made money, and everybody, DC, Marvel, Image, they all just went crossover crazy. But Image, from memory, was worse than the rest of them. You'd get a few issues of a comic, and then it'd be in another crossover that would go for 1 or 2 or sometimes even 3 issues of that comic. And then you'd get a few more issues of actual comic, and then there'd be another bloody crossover. So it's pretty crazy, the 90s. But then again, it could still be like that. I don't know. I stopped collecting in 2000. So who knows? Who knows? Well, I'll probably keep this rant short. That's all I thought of before this to talk about. Unless someone's got a question or a comment, even I can comment on. Anything weird about the 90s that you remember? For anyone old enough? I don't know about that Duncan fella. I think he was born in the 90s, crazy bastard. But yeah, so that might be it then. So thank you again for listening to me rant on, or shit talk, as I like to nickname it. And yeah, thanks. Have a good night. See you whenever I do this again. Probably the best place to actually catch me would be Friday's Drink and Draw, which starts back on the 6th of May. Oz Comic Show, which starts up on the 4th of May. And that's probably the best place to catch me. 1991, yeah. I was in grade 11, dude. So, yeah. Yes, thank you, everyone. And have a great night. Much appreciated. Sizzle Rants.